If you are one of the many people who find the idea of scuba diving a fascinating one, you're about to become a participant in one of the fastest growing sports in the world today. Scuba will introduce you to a whole new world, a world of color and wonderful and strange new forms of life that most people can only dream about or watch on television. You may decide to dive the mysterious kelp forests of California, visit the coral reefs of the Caribbean and the South Pacific, or explore the many freshwater lakes, rivers, and quarries of your hometown. No matter what your choice, you will always find something new to capture your interest and imagination. After becoming a certified open water diver, you will join a very special group of fun and adventurous people who love nature, love excitement, and love the adventure only available to the scuba diver. During your training, you will receive what we believe to be the most safety-oriented diving program available today. Safe but fun, and always with an eye toward the protection of our valuable worldwide marine environment. Your training will be accomplished in 3 different environments: academics in the classroom or by home study, a swimming pool, and the ocean, a lake or other body of open water. Your academic study is organized into 4 separate units. Your professional scuba instructor will help you master the concepts and principles needed to make you both a safe diver and an environmentally responsible diver, and develop your knowledge in order to enhance your enjoyment of the marine environment. The experience and skills that you will learn in the swimming pool is called confined water training. You will learn how to safely use your scuba equipment, and you will be introduced to the concepts of buddy diving. The mark of a good scuba diver is the mastery of buoyancy control skills. Your scuba instructor will teach you these skills in the safety of the swimming pool prior to your first open water experience. During your practical training in the ocean or other body of water, you and your instructor will make 4 dives over 2 separate days. This practical training, called open water, will increase your diving knowledge and give you the confidence to plan and conduct your own dives after you are certified as an open water diver. Your adventure begins with Unit 1. In Unit 1, you will discover how the laws of physics will affect your diving experience. You will learn how water and pressure will affect you and your personal physiology. You will learn about the basic scuba equipment that you will use during your underwater adventures. And you will learn how your safety, fun, and diving pleasure will increase with the buddy diving system. We already live in an ocean of air that surrounds the earth. We are comfortable in this ocean because we have a lifetime of experience living here. When you dive, you will be confronted with a different experience that can be both exciting and a little awesome. Exciting because it takes you out of your comfort zone. Awesome because you are exposed to new experiences, new situations, and new life forms. Unit 1 will tell you all about how the underwater environment will affect you and your surroundings while diving. Buoyancy describes the ability of an object to float at the surface of a body of water. You already know a little bit about buoyancy by watching how balloons rise into the air when filled with helium. In water, some things float, like wood, while heavier objects made of metal sink. Have you ever wondered how a very heavy and large object made of metal, like a submarine, can float at the surface and then at the captain's command sink below the surface and rise again? The secret is in the submarine's ability to control its buoyancy. If an object weighs less than the water that it displaces, it is called positively buoyant and will float at the surface or rise to the surface if submerged. If it weighs the same as the water that it displaces, it is neutrally buoyant and will neither sink nor rise. And if it weighs more than the water that it displaces, it will sink. The captain of a submarine can cause it to float, remain suspended in the water, or sink by changing its weight by flooding parts of the submarine with water, or blowing the water out with air. This is also the way that a scuba diver controls his buoyancy. You will learn how to do this in the swimming pool during confined water training. Divers wear lead weights to make them sink. This is called negative buoyancy. Divers also wear a buoyancy vest called a BCD that can be filled with air to add positive buoyancy so that they can easily adjust their buoyancy to be negatively buoyant or neutrally buoyant in the water, and positively buoyant while resting on the surface. The weight of water affects your buoyancy. Dissolved salts in seawater make seawater weigh more than fresh water. If you have adjusted your weight belt to dive in the ocean, you will have to remove some weight before diving in a freshwater lake. If you usually dive in fresh water, you will have to add a few pounds more weight to your weight belt before diving in the ocean. Air has weight. You already know about the forces that air can exert, having experienced the effects of wind, like the force of wind in a sail. The weight of all the air from the ground all the way to the top of the atmosphere is called atmospheric air pressure. At sea level, a column of air 1 inch square extending from the surface of the Earth to the edge of our atmosphere weighs approximately 14.7 pounds per square inch. The force exerted by this column of air is called 1 atmosphere of air pressure. Water is much denser than air because the molecules of water are much closer together. This makes water weigh more than air because many more molecules of water can fit into a space. The force that water can exert is a great deal more than the forces of air. There is very little distance between molecules of water, and this makes water incompressible. Since water weighs so much more than air, pressure increases very quickly as the depth of water increases. In seawater, the pressure increases by 1 atmosphere for every 33 feet, or 10 meters. At sea level, the pressure is 1 atmosphere because of the air above us. At a depth of 33 feet, or 10 meters, the pressure will be 2 atmospheres. At 66 feet, or 20 meters, the pressure will be 3 atmospheres. At 99 feet, or 30 meters, the pressure will be 4 atmospheres, and so on. Air is a mixture of gases, 78% nitrogen, 20% oxygen, and 2% carbon dioxide, and a mixture of rare gases. When a gas is compressed, the molecules come closer together and pressure increases. This means that the gas takes up less space or volume, and the gas becomes more dense. The relationship between pressure, volume, and density of air is very simple. As pressure increases, volume decreases and density increases. Let's look at what happens when an inverted jar filled with air at the surface is taken on a dive. If the jar is taken to a depth of 33 feet or 10 meters, where the pressure is 2 atmospheres, the volume of air in the jar is 1/2 of the original volume. Since the air molecules are pushed closer together by the increased pressure, the density of the air is twice what it was at the surface. If the jar is taken farther to a depth of 66 feet or 20 meters, where the pressure is 3 atmospheres, the volume of air in the jar is 1/3 the original volume, and the density of the air is 3 times what it was at the surface. At a depth of 99 feet or 30 meters, where the pressure is 4 atmospheres, the volume of air in the jar is 1/4 the original volume. The air molecules are pressed together 4 times closer, which makes the density of the air 4 times greater than at the surface. Increased air density increases the rate that a diver will use air from the scuba tank. The deeper that a diver dives, the faster the air will be used. As air volumes change in the air spaces of a diver, the buoyancy of a diver also changes. The diver, to navigate safely and comfortably in the water, must adjust these changes in air volume. The human body is well adapted for a life on land, but not underwater, like our close relatives, the sea lions, dolphins, whales, and other marine animals. Our senses of sight and hearing are not too keen in the water, and we don't have flippers or fins for swimming. It is not all bad news. Our bodies are composed mostly of water, and since water is incompressible, we can function under pressure with very little noticeable effect on our bodies. The exceptions to these are the air spaces in our ears, sinuses, and lungs. We know how to make tools to adapt to the underwater environment, and we have a complete set of them to allow us to experience it safely. That is what this scuba diving course is all about, learning how to use these tools in a safe and efficient manner. It is important for divers to be able to equalize air spaces in the sinuses and ears as depth and pressure changes to avoid pain or injury. The human ear has three major parts: the outer ear, middle ear, and the inner ear. Each has a separate function. The outer ear collects sound vibrations and passes them down the auditory canal to an airtight membrane called the eardrum. The eardrum passes the sound energy into the middle ear, where that sound energy is then passed to the inner ear through a series of small bones called ossicles. The inner ear is filled with fluids, and through those fluids the sound energy is converted to nerve impulses, which are then transmitted to the brain. The outer ear is always open to the environment, and the inner ear is fluid-filled, so they do not require pressure equalization. Since the middle ear is an airspace sealed from the outer ear by the eardrum, pressure in the middle ear must be equalized with the pressure in the outer ear to avoid injury to the eardrum. The middle ear is connected to your airway by the eustachian tube. This allows the passage of air from the airway to or from the middle ear so that the ear can be equalized. When the pressure outside the ear is greater than the pressure inside the ear while descending on a dive, pinching off the nose and blowing gently against the constriction may equalize the air pressure in the middle ear. Do not blow too hard, or you may cause injury to the inner ear. If the pressure does not immediately equalize, ascend a few feet and try again. You can move your head side to side, wiggle the jaw, swallow, or expand the throat muscles to assist in equalizing. If you cannot equalize the pressure, do not continue the descent. During your ascent, air in the middle ear and sinuses are expanding. A healthy unblocked eustachian tube and sinuses will allow the expanding air to gently bubble out, which will equalize the pressure. If you feel pain or pressure during ascent, stop, descend a few feet, and wait for the pressure to equalize. Swallowing, wiggling the jaw, and moving your head side to side may help you. Your sinuses are air-filled spaces above, below, and behind the eyes, and are connected to your airway by the nose. A normal, healthy sinus will equalize pressure easily. Divers with colds or allergy congestion should never dive until the symptoms are gone, because blocked sinuses may be very difficult to equalize. Divers with severe allergies involving the nose, ears, and sinuses should get medical treatment from their doctor before diving. Do not self-medicate with off-the-shelf cold remedies. Many drugs can cause adverse reactions in your body while under the higher pressures present when diving. These reactions are unpredictable and may be different with each person or set of circumstances. Medications can also wear off during a dive, making ascent to the surface difficult. They also have a tendency to boomerang when the medication wears off, making the swelling more severe afterwards than before the medication was taken. In the severest of cases, drug reactions under pressure can cause convulsions or unconsciousness. Air expansion injury to the lungs is potentially the most dangerous pressure-related problem in scuba diving. Fortunately, it is also the most easily avoided by simply never holding your breath. Whenever you are not breathing from your regulator, keep your airway open by saying "ah" while blowing a small stream of bubbles. By always keeping your airway open, expanding air during ascent easily escapes the lungs. If you hold your breath, expanding air in the lungs may escape into the bloodstream. These tiny bubbles can stop the blood flowing through the small arterial network in your body. Let's see what happens when a volume of air rises from a depth of 99 feet or 30 meters, where the pressure is 4 atmospheres. When you reach 66 feet or 20 meters, the pressure is 3 atmospheres. The volume of air increases by 4/3. Rising to 33 feet or 10 meters, the pressure reduces to 2 atmospheres. The air has now increased to twice the volume. At the surface, where the pressure is 1 atmosphere, the volume of air has expanded by 4 times. If the same air had been trapped in your lungs, it could have caused serious overpressure injury. Even small changes in depth, as little as several feet or a meter, can cause serious injury. Remember, never hold your breath. Always keep your airway open. As depth and pressure increase, causing air density to increase, frictional forces in the airway become greater. Your airway is the path that your air takes to get to your lungs from the scuba tank, and includes the tank valve, primary stage regulator, low pressure hose, secondary stage regulator, your throat, and your lungs. To oxygenate sufficiently, you must fully move the dead air all the way through the airway. This is best accomplished by breathing slowly and deeply to remove the respired carbon dioxide from the airway and replace it with fresh air from the scuba tank. When your air becomes denser under increased pressure, higher frictional forces in the airway may make it more difficult to breathe. This may not be noticeable until under strenuous activity. Heavy exertion can cause you to breathe fast and shallow. Increased frictional forces can make it seem like your air supply cannot keep up with the higher demand for air. Left unchecked, increased carbon dioxide levels from this type of breathing can lead to feelings of panic. This is very easy to correct. Stop the strenuous activity and gain control of your breathing by breathing slowly and deeply. When your airway is under control, resume your activity at a slower pace. Sound travels 4 times faster in water than in air because of the higher density of water. The sounds seem nearer and louder to us underwater than they would at the surface. But because of the faster speed, we cannot tell the direction from which the sounds are coming. It is unwise to rely on sound to determine the nearness of an object, like a boat, or its direction. To avoid placing yourself in danger when sounds are present, if you must ascend, always approach the surface cautiously, after looking in all directions to locate the source of the sounds. Our bodies can lose heat up to 25 times faster in water than in air. The body responds to cold by restricting blood flow to the extremities to slow the transfer of heat from the body core. The rate of heat loss can vary between divers because of individual size, shape, fat stores, and body surface area. Small divers with low body fat will most likely lose heat faster, while bigger divers that have greater fat stores may lose heat more slowly. Some women may lose heat faster than men because of a smaller size and proportionally larger skin surface area. When diving in colder conditions, be aware that a buddy smaller than you may become cold much quicker than you. Uncontrollable shivering is the body's secret signal that your core temperature is dropping too low. By shivering, the body tries to generate internal heat through muscle action and increased metabolism. If you begin to shiver uncontrollably, exit the water immediately and get warm. If you stay in the water, you will continue to lose heat. If you remain in the water and shivering stops, things are not getting better. Enough heat has been lost to put you in a dangerous, possibly life-threatening situation. While breathing air at depths approaching 100 feet, you may experience nitrogen narcosis. Nitrogen under pressure has an intoxicating effect. Divers sometimes call 100 feet or 30 meters the one martini depth. The symptoms of nitrogen narcosis increase as depth and pressure increases. Nitrogen narcosis affects individuals differently and is very unpredictable. The degree of susceptibility to nitrogen narcosis that a diver experiences can vary from day to day and from dive to dive. You may notice an intoxicated-like behavior, impaired judgment, or a false security and a lack of concern for others in your buddy. You may feel anxious, uncomfortable, or impaired in your coordination. All of these symptoms can lead to serious problems or situations if they go unrecognized and corrective action is not taken. If you begin to feel strange or uncomfortable, or you notice your buddy's behavior is impaired, immediately ascend with your buddy to a shallower depth. As you ascend to a shallower depth, the effect of nitrogen narcosis will diminish with no after effects. To prevent nitrogen narcosis, simply avoid deep dives. Our bodies use the oxygen, but not the nitrogen in the compressed air that we breathe. During your dive, increased pressure causes more nitrogen to be absorbed into your body tissues. The amount that your body absorbs will depend on the depth and time of the dive. As you ascend, the surrounding water pressure decreases. The pressure of the dissolved nitrogen in your body tissues is greater than that in the air that you are breathing. If you have not exceeded depth and bottom time limits, and your ascent rate is slower than 30 feet or 9 meters per minute, you will most likely eliminate the excess nitrogen to safe levels through respiration. If absorbed nitrogen exceeds safe limits, excess nitrogen in the blood and tissues will begin to form bubbles as you ascend. These bubbles can cause a serious and painful medical condition called decompression sickness. Decompression sickness is sometimes called the bends. There are certain factors that can increase your susceptibility to decompression sickness, or DCS. These factors include being overweight, injuries, illness, dehydration, fatigue, older age, or diving in a cold environment. Some activities, such as vigorous exercise or alcohol consumption before or after a dive, can also contribute to DCS. Symptoms can occur in one or more than one location in the body and are usually felt within the first 12 hours after diving. They can include a mild to moderate dull ache in the joints and a tingling or numbness. Other common symptoms are weakness and prolonged fatigue. More serious symptoms may manifest as dizziness, difficulty in breathing, shock, and paralysis. In severe cases, unconsciousness or death may occur. Medical assistance is always required if DCS is suspected, and the faster that medical treatment is administered, the less risk there is of permanent damage. With proper treatment, DCS is rarely permanent or fatal. First aid for decompression sickness includes prevention or treatment of shock, administration of oxygen, providing CPR if necessary, alerting the emergency medical system. The basic equipment needed to dive includes a scuba mask, fins for propulsion, a snorkel, a weight system, and the scuba unit, including a buoyancy compensation device, or BCD, air tank, and regulator. Scuba masks are available in many colors, shapes, configurations, styles, and costs. When selecting a scuba mask, there are really only 3 important considerations: fit, vision, and comfort. Your eye cannot focus when immersed in water because the water causes the focal point of the eye's lens to extend farther behind the retina than your eye can compensate for. The purpose of a scuba mask is to hold air in front of your eyes so that you can focus while underwater. The diver's nose must be contained inside the airspace of the mask so that air flowing through your nose can equalize the air pressure in the mask during descents. Otherwise, a mask squeeze will occur that can be very uncomfortable or damaging to the surrounding tissues. This is why a pair of swimmer's goggles that only fit over the eyes will not work for scuba diving. The scuba mask has 4 major parts: the hard body or case, the tempered glass lens or lenses, the skirt, the strap, and fastener. The modern scuba mask usually has a low volume case. This keeps the lens close to the eye for a greater field of vision and keeps the air volume small, which makes it easier to purge water from. Tempered glass lenses are used for safety because tempered glass does not shatter into sharp shards if it breaks. The skirt is the part of the mask that fits against the face to form a seal. It is important that the skirt fits properly to avoid leaking. Skirts are made from silicone, rubber, or neoprene. However, most good quality masks have silicone skirts. Silicone is the most desirable because of its long life, durability, and softness. Mask straps are usually made of the same material as the mask skirt. The function of the strap is to hold the mask in place on the diver's head. It should be adjusted for a snug but comfortable fit. The mask should be positioned on the face, and then the masked strap should be pulled over the head. The straps may be loosened at the mask strap fasteners for easy positioning, and then snugged down and secured when the mask is in place. The mask strap should be positioned behind the crown of your head. Strands of hair or other things should not be caught between the face and mask skirt because they will cause leaking. Do not over-tighten the mask strap. The mask should fit snugly but comfortably. Make sure the nose is not pinched off. Air should be able to flow freely from the nose into the mask airspace for easy equalization. Silicone mask skirts and straps come in several grades of silicone. When buying a mask for the first time, it would be wise to rely on your instructor or dive shop professional to assure that you get a mask of a good quality. After use, your mask should be rinsed thoroughly in fresh water to remove chlorine and sand and salt crystals. If your dive was an ocean dive, it is useful to allow your mask to soak for several hours in a freshwater bath to dissolve the salt crystals and other minerals. Many dive operators provide freshwater pails or other containers for this purpose. Before putting it away, the mask should be dried. Don't leave your mask exposed to sunlight for extended periods. The sun can cause premature aging of the silicone or rubber parts of the mask. The scuba diver uses fins for underwater propulsion. Scuba equipment causes increased drag through the water, making the use of fins necessary. Scuba fins let you use the powerful muscles of your legs for propulsion. This frees up your arms for other uses while diving. By tucking the arms into the body, the diver can also reduce drag, making the swim more effortless. Fins can be purchased in several configurations. The open heel fin is worn with diving footwear called scuba boots or booties. They are the preferred fin for scuba divers because of the versatility that they provide. Scuba boots provide both thermal insulation and protection against sharp rocks and other things the diver may have to walk across on the way to the water. Open-heeled fins should be tried on for fit with the dive boots that you intend to wear with them. Open-heeled fins have an adjustable strap that holds the fin to the foot. Some of the better quality fins have a strap with a quick release feature that allows the diver to put on or take off the fins more quickly and easily. The full-footed fin is worn barefooted or with a stocking. They are usually used when diving in tropical waters, where thermal insulation is not as necessary and where protection to the feet is not critical, such as on the deck of a boat. You can buy fins that have a stiff, rigid blade, or fins that are more flexible. Stiff fins provide the best propulsion, but require the greatest leg strength to kick them. The power stroke of the fin is the downward stroke, using the powerful muscles of the thigh and abdomen. Many stiff fins have channels designed into them that allow water to flow through during the upstroke to make the upstroke easier. Flexible fins are usually easier to kick, but don't provide as much propulsion. There are various styles and configurations available. Stiffening ribs and flexible channels for shaping water flow add to the efficiency of this type of fin. Snorkels let divers breathe while swimming on the surface without using valuable compressed air. They can be used while making extended surface swims, looking for a dive site, or any other reason that a diver might have for swimming at the surface while face down in the water. In their simplest form, snorkels can be nothing more than a curved tube for breathing. The diameter of the tube should be large enough to supply a sufficient quantity of air, but the length should be short enough that you can still replace the dead air with fresh air on every breath. Your dive shop professional has snorkels in many different configurations. Some are available that curve closely to the diver's head and are streamlined for less resistance through the water. They are available with purge valves to make the clearing of water easier, and other designs for remaining dry or partially dry when submerged in water. Snorkels are always attached to your mask strap on the left side. There are different styles of attachment, but the most common is called a snorkel keeper. The snorkel keeper is a rubber or silicone strap that slides down over the snorkel and holds the mask strap against the snorkel barrel. The keeper should be adjusted so that the snorkel fits comfortably in your mouth without needing to hold it there with clamped teeth. In order to dive effortlessly, the positive buoyancy of your wetsuit and equipment must be offset with dense weight. Lead is the most common weight used and comes in a variety of shapes, styles, and configurations for diving. You will be taught how to use a weight belt for carrying the necessary lead weights. A standard weight belt has a nylon web strap and a quick disconnect buckle. If necessary to gain immediate positive buoyancy, you or your buddy can release the weight belt with a single sweep of the right hand. The weight belt should be worn free of the diver's other equipment so that it may fall away when released. The weights on your weight belt should be distributed as evenly as possible on the belt and toward the diver's front. The diver will be more comfortable if the weights do not interfere with the compressed air tank on the back or the hip bones. Other forms of weight systems are available and include pocket belts made of neoprene with pockets for holding the lead bricks. Some belts are filled with lead shot for comfort instead of solid lead. Most BCD manufacturers now provide weight systems that are integrated into the BCD. These have proved to be very popular with recreational divers because of comfort and good weight distribution. If you use one of these, it is a good idea to make sure that your buddy and other divers in your group know how the weight release mechanism works on your BCD before you dive. Your scuba unit has an air tank and tank valve, a scuba regulator with a submersible pressure gauge and depth gauge, and a BCD. In the United States, scuba cylinders or tanks are either made of aluminum or steel. As you inspect your scuba cylinder, you will notice some markings on the upper rounded portion of the neck. These markings will tell you what material the tank is made of, 3AA for steel or 3AL for aluminum, the pressure that you can safely fill the tank to in pounds per square inch, and the date of the last hydrostatic test. The hydrostatic test must be dated less than 5 years from the current date before your dive shop can fill it with air. Another thing to look for is the visual inspection sticker. The scuba cylinder that you are using must have been visually inspected and have received the inspection sticker within the last year. A visual inspection expires 1 year from the date marked on the sticker. Scuba tanks are filled from high-pressure compressors. Sometimes contamination, such as carbon monoxide or oil vapor, can enter the intake of the compressor. Most dive shops and air fill stations today are highly reputable and take great care to assure that the air you receive from them is of the highest quality. The possibility of obtaining a bad air fill is extremely unlikely. However, if your air smells strange or bad, or if you experience nausea, headaches, or dizziness while diving, end the dive immediately and do not use the air. A diver experiencing any of these symptoms should be given lots of fresh air or oxygen. The tank valve allows you to turn the compressed air on and off, and is also where you attach the scuba regulator. There are three types of valves in use today: the K valve, the J valve, and the DIN valve. The K valve is a simple on and off valve. You open the tank valve by rotating the valve counterclockwise fully until it stops, and then backing it off 1/4 turn. This assures that the valve will deliver air at full volume to the regulator. The J valve has an additional lever that provides a diver with an air reserve of about 300 psi or 20 bar when the lever is in the up position. To access the reserve air, the diver pulls the handle to the down position. This allows enough air reserve to make a safe ascent to the surface. The DIN valve is an on and off valve that meets European DIN standards. It requires a special fitting on your scuba regulator for attachment. K valves and J valves have a rubber O-ring for sealing the scuba regulator to the valve. You should inspect the O-ring for cuts, nicks, and abrasions prior to use each time. If the O-ring is damaged or in questionable condition, replace it. A damaged O-ring will cause air leaks at the tank valve and may prevent you from diving. SCUBA stands for Self-Contained Underwater Breathing Apparatus and is the name given by its inventors Jacques Cousteau and Emile Gagnon to the scuba regulator. The modern scuba regulator has a first stage regulator and a second stage regulator. The first stage regulator reduces the air pressure contained in the scuba cylinder to a working intermediate pressure. The second stage regulator is a demand regulator connected to the first stage by a low pressure hose that supplies air to the diver only when the diver inhales. The second stage regulator has a mouthpiece that fits comfortably in the diver's mouth. Scuba regulators are designed to free flow in the rare event that they malfunction, but well-maintained regulators seldom fail, and you needn't worry. The free-flowing characteristic of your regulator gives you an extra measure of safety by never cutting the air supply off accidentally. In your confined water training sessions in the swimming pool, you will learn how to breathe from a free-flowing regulator. Your instructor will make sure that everyone in your class is equipped with an alternate second stage. The alternate second stage is simply an additional second stage that attaches to the first stage through a second low-pressure hose. Sometimes referred to by divers as an octopus, the alternate second stage is made available to provide your diving buddy with an air source if he or she inadvertently runs out of air. You should attach the octopus to your upper front torso for easy recognition and access by your buddy in an out-of-air emergency. The submersible pressure gauge, sometimes called an SPG, allows you to monitor the pressure of your air in your scuba tank during your dive. It is attached to the first stage through a high-pressure hose. You can think of the SPG as a submersible gas gauge for your air supply. Depth gauges are usually found in the same console unit as the SPG and are also pressure gauges designed to measure water depth in feet or meters of seawater. Both the SPG and depth gauge are required equipment for diving. Buoyancy compensation devices, or BCDs for short, aid you in adjusting your personal buoyancy during your dive. They also attach to your air tank for carrying the tank on your dive. The BCD is connected to your air supply via a low-pressure air port and hose to the first stage regulator. An inflator-deflator mechanism gives you the ability to use the air in your scuba tank to adjust buoyancy or to inflate orally by blowing through the mouthpiece. Modern BCDs are in the form of a jacket with a bladder for holding air, or have airbags located on the back for backlift. A backpack for attaching the compressed air tank, a large diameter hose for connecting the inflator-deflator mechanism to the BCD, and pockets for miscellaneous dive equipment complete the unit. We have talked about supplying air to your buddy in an out-of-air emergency. Safety is enough reason for always diving with a buddy. There are many situations that may need a buddy's help, including entanglements or health problems. The situations can be as varied as the number of divers diving. There is a whole set of other reasons for diving with a buddy beyond safety. Some of them are fun, diving pleasure, and sharing underwater adventures, not to mention that having some help in suiting up and making your entry into the water can sometimes make things go a lot smoother. Planning your dive with a friend gives you a way to plan your activities, find new dive sites, or be aware of diving conditions that may not occur to you alone. It also provides a way for double-checking planned depths and bottom times so that you can stay within appropriate guidelines. There is a joke that has been circulating for years that goes, some divers' idea of buddy diving is same day, same ocean. Don't let this be said of you. Plan your dive together and stay together during your dive. If you should become separated from your buddy, search for no more than 1 minute and then make a normal ascent to the surface to reunite. Divers use hand signals to communicate while underwater. Experienced divers can even use a series of hand signals that, when strung together, can make complete sentences. Let's talk about some of the most common hand signals in use. Are you okay? Or yes, I'm okay. Something's wrong. Or I need some help. Out of air. Let's go down. Let's go up. As your diving experience grows, you will be sure to learn others. You and your diving buddies will also probably invent some new ones.